Hi Rishi.
Hello, Jester. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the channel and thanks for
Thank you so
agreeing
much.
for the interview. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us first why did you leave China in the beginning?
So I left China during the pandemic. Left in about October 2020. My brother was getting married, so I left. My plan was to initially come back after my brother's wedding, and I had some business to do here in Indonesia. So the plan was to grow and expand the business from China into Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. Thanks to COVID, I suppose that, my plans were preponed rather than postponed a little bit. So borders in China were quite difficult to get into, I suppose.
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy to enter China. Plus, I wanted to expand the Indonesian base.
Why Indonesia specifically? Why not Taiwan? Why not like Singapore, or Hong Kong even?
So Hong Kong and Taiwan are part of China, as let's not go into the sensitivity of the topic here, but
in terms of work and business.
In terms of work and business, I wanted to expand in different Southeast Asian regions. Definitely Singapore is on my list, and so is Malaysia, but one country at a time,
Okay, before we go any further about the business, can you briefly tell what kind of business you do so audience understands?
Sure. So I'm a business designer and a consultant. My company is called Univesco. Got an office in India, got an office in the UK, got an office here in Jakarta, Indonesia, and an office in Shanghai, China. So as a business designer, I work with startups and other companies, small to medium enterprises, even certain large corporations, where I basically incorporate their company structure globally, but also help them to get source funding if they're growing their business, design their business for them in terms of marketing, their strategic plans, strategic consulting, help them to expand into different regions, and then invest for that business, invest personally as well, and also as a business. So, for example, I do financial and portfolio management, business advisory, business consulting in that regard.
Okay. So, all right, going back to the earlier question now, let's continue. Why Indonesia specifically over other countries?
So, Indonesia is the fourth largest economy in terms of purchasing power. And good that you mentioned this topic. A lot of people ask me, I basically live in the UK full-time these days since October 2021, last year. A lot of people say, why would you leave UK and Ireland, like Europe?
Yeah.
Why not go to Germany or France or whatever European countries?
Yeah.
Why come to Asia? And I'm like,
because Asian people in general, or other like let's say less developed countries people, they try to go to the West, including EU, UK, Canada. Why you chose Asia?
So one privilege that I have, Jusser, is that I have an Irish passport.
Okay.
So with a global passport, sixth strongest passport in the world, I'm not bragging here, I can travel freely anywhere. I've got a Kitas here in Indonesia. I've got an Indonesian company.
What is Kitas? Can you explain?
Okay, Kitas is basically a work visa. It's a 2-year work visa. So once you have your own company here in Indonesia, you can sponsor yourself on that company and legally work in Indonesia, do whatever you want to do, and basically generate income using that company while living in Indonesia. Got a Kitas here, 2 years, unlimited multiple entry visa.
Okay.
Yes, UK is a great place to live.
Yeah.
Yes, I drive a 5 Series in the UK. I'm here renting cars or motorbikes or Grabs, and Grab is basically equivalent of Didi in China or Uber in the US or UK. But Asia has a lot of, especially Indonesia, a lot of business opportunities. I was talking to my auntie a few days ago, and she said, Indonesia is in Asia. Are there that many opportunities that you have left UK? That's the mindset, Jusser. A lot of people have this mindset just because it's the UK. Yes, London has amazing opportunities. London is the city to live in. But when it comes to business and globally, like as a digital nomad like yourself, when you want to expand and grow your business, grow yourself as a person, you want to be able to get out of your comfort zone. Unfortunately, London doesn't cut it. London generates a lot of income for me as a business. Yes, I love London. I love to live in London. Amazing. A place where I would want to start a family, raise a family, send my kids to school. But as a single person currently, growing the business with full of energy, I want to be able to expand into different regions. And Indonesia is a great place for that.
Okay.
That you mentioned, why Indonesia, why Asia? Tesla, everybody knows Tesla. Tesla's plans to go to India.
Right.
Okay. And so Tesla, as you know yourself, when we were in China, it opened up a gigafactory very close to one of the economic centers that we used to work in Songjiang area. and that generates Tesla invested of 5 billion USD that time. Now, Tesla wanted to expand into India, which is a major automotive market. Me and Alex were talking casually last night about the automotive market in India. It's probably one of the largest automotive markets in the world. If not, it'll be the largest very soon, because Indians middle class have money, they want to be able to spend. And as the middle class in any particular country grows, they want to be able to spend the money as soon as possible. India didn't allow Tesla to enter the Indian market because India wants to protect its domestic car automotive market. So we have Tatas, Mahindras, all the locals, and also the scooter companies as well, the TVS, Bajaj, so on and so forth. Tesla's coming to Indonesia. So there is something in Indonesia, even a major corporation like Tesla, Elon Musk, which you like as a visionary, as a business leader.
Yeah.
If he's planning to enter, there must be something in the country, in Indonesia. And then there's so many opportunities in Indonesia, not just necessarily in Jakarta, but also in Bali. We're in Bali. Bali is amazing for the serenity, for the peace, for the beaches, for everything. But people forget Jakarta is a bustling financial capital. My office is in Jakarta. I'm a suit and boot guy. I prefer to work in Jakarta in a high-rise building. Everything that I used to get in China.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, China is amazing to do business in, for import-export, for e-commerce, for drop shipping, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But then when you want to grow the business, you cannot just be stuck in one zone.
Okay. So for you, main reason to be based in Jakarta is to expand your business in this market, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it because of, okay, let's compare, right? Just to give perspective. For example, in Asia, Southeast Asia, there are more other regions.
Yes.
Right? For example, let's say Thailand, or let's pick Singapore, for example, or even Philippines.
Yes.
Can you name a few advantages of Indonesia over these regions?
Sure. Singapore is a little bit expensive. If you are a medium-sized enterprise that's generating roughly about $500,000 a year in revenue, definitely have a base in Singapore. I will be soon incorporating a Singaporean company for the Singaporean client base. At the moment, I'm generating all that revenue through the UK company. Got a Singapore bank account. But I want to be able to start up an office in Singapore soon. Thailand is a great place to chill, again, for personal circumstances. Thailand doesn't suit me. Thailand is a great place for a lot of people who want to retire. And let's say if you were to retire with £2 million in the UK, your £2 million will go a long way in Thailand versus the UK. You'll have your Lamborghini, your Ferrari, your Porsche, whatever, but you'll also have a great lifestyle. Live like a king in Thailand. Singapore is a great financial capital if your business is related to those topics, those particular areas, those particular centers. But if your business is into drop shipping, e-commerce, or if you're a digital nomad and you're doing a lot of digital business, makes no sense to live in Singapore, where the cost of living is equivalent to London, New York, and Tokyo. Makes no sense as a person. And then Singapore it's a city. It doesn't have a beach. People love beaches. They want to be able to go get a tan. Singapore won't give you that. Philippines, security concerns. Manila, there's certain areas of Manila, brilliant, posh neighborhoods, but certain areas of Manila, Philippines, I wouldn't want to be there at nighttime. Like living in Shanghai, it kind of spoils you in a certain way that the security in China is so great. You can walk out at midnight and have no fear whatsoever. Whereas Philippines, you'll have that fear. I was in Karachi for 6 months in Pakistan. Again, a great place to live. But there's certain nitty-gritty details. When you get older and the business grows, you won't have to maintain a certain level of lifestyle. Singapore will allow that. Manila, Philippines won't, personally from myself. And you said, why Indonesia? Security, pretty good in Bali. Lifestyle is pretty good. Food options, being a vegetarian, so many vegan options, so many vegetarian options. Plus the lifestyle. Fitness point of view, I can maintain myself here. Growing the business, there's just so many opportunities in attracting clients who do amazing businesses here in Indonesia and Bali and also in Jakarta, Surabaya, where I predominantly live most of the time. That just to get those clients and cater for those clients.
Let's talk about some specifics. Okay, you're saying that Indonesia is a great place to attract, clients and expand the business. Now, if somebody wants to establish a company here and also be able to live long term, so can you give us some, information on that, like how
Sure.
to establish a company and plus sponsor yourself? Is there any investment requirements?
There are no investment requirements. You open up a company.
What kind of company is it? LTD?
It's an
fully
LTD. It's
fully
a
foreign owned?
fully foreign-owned LTD company.
Okay.
You will have to have a commissionary, a secretary, which will be a local,
Resident?
a resident local.
Okay.
So, but there's my company provides that nominee director service. Same in Singapore. If you want to open a company, you'll have to have a nominee director, a resident director.
Yeah.
So we provide that service. Investment, no, you don't need any investment.
Okay.
However, you get a 2-year KITAS, which is renewable every 2 years. So in China, it used to be 1 year, annually. It's 2 years here. Pretty straightforward procedure. Incorporating the company takes no more than a month, 3 weeks usually.
Okay.
Bank account roughly about 10 to 15 working days, again 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then that's pretty much, it's pretty straightforward. The cost we can get into the specifics because everybody has their own personal circumstances, and some people want to sponsor their family as well. So everybody has their own particular criteria. It's a pretty straightforward procedure. Once your company is incorporated, once your bank account's up and running, you can use that company to generate revenue on a global level.
Yeah.
And then you only pay for the taxes generated in Indonesia, for income generated and derived in
So
Indonesia.
Indonesia doesn't tax global income?
No.
Let's say your Indonesian company is making or, having income from outside of Indonesia.
No, as long as it's income derived within Indonesia, you pay Indonesian taxes.
Okay.
If it's income derived outside of Indonesia, you don't pay taxes. But I work with accountants and lawyers, experts in this particular field in Jakarta, who will be able to assist with the whole procedure of maximizing your taxes and your just maximizing your potential revenue, basically by minimizing your taxes in a particular manner.
Since you mentioned taxes compared to European or in general Western countries,
definitely cheaper than the UK and Ireland. So in Ireland, the sly government, I shouldn't say this about my government, but Ireland introduced a USC, a universal social charge, during the recession days, 2009-10. They said that it's a 2-year tax just to generate enough revenue because we were going through austerity measures during the recession.
Yeah.
But since then, the tax has never been scrapped. So it's basically a tax upon tax. So in Ireland, we pay VAT, of course.
Yeah.
But then we also pay income tax. Then we pay PRSI, which is social insurance. Same in China, and NI in the UK. And then we also pay USC. So it's a tax plus tax plus tax. So eventually, if you're a good income earner in Ireland, generating roughly 80 to 85,000 euros plus, you're paying about roughly 50% in taxes, which is a sizable chunk, Alex. You don't earn that much money to bloody pay taxes.
Yeah.
I work with accountants in the UK, in London. And even in London, the average tax, if you're earning 100,000 plus, is roughly about 40-45%. You don't want to pay 40%.
So in Indonesia, you don't have this.
It's not that much.
Okay.
It's not that
much.
much.
What is the approximate?
30%.
30%. Okay.
I paid taxes last year, 30%.
Okay.
25 to 30%.
Right.
So I'm saving 10-15%.
Okay.
Plus my money, the value for money is quite good here in Indonesia. Again, I live in London full time. Okay. London is a base. I love living in London. UK is a great place to generate UK income, pay UK taxes, so on and so forth. But any income outside of the UK, why would I generate through the UK company and pay UK taxes when I can generate through Indonesian company?
This question I asked to many people I know in Asia, including my country, which is Uzbekistan. Yeah. Many people, like I mentioned before, in the earlier question, many people still tend to, tend to immigrate, or they're planning to immigrate to Canada, for example, or UK, Ireland, definitely. So
Portugal as well.
Yeah, Portugal as well. Why do you think people still, like with families, even they, from Asia, especially with from a less developed country, why do you think still, try to go to those high tax regions?
Because they want to get the passport. Okay. Better standard of living, for sure. Education-wise, of course, Europe is amazing. I work with companies in Portugal. I assist my clients in securing Portuguese citizenship. by investment.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that specifics in a different video.
Yeah.
Portugal, Ireland, immigration by investment. So we have those 10 kitts and Nevis and all those West Indies, Caribbean countries that you can secure a passport, as you know.
Yeah.
But a secure European passport in Portugal, Cyprus, UK, Ireland, it's a great passport to have, better standard of living, healthcare is amazing, education is amazing. If you've got kids, as you do as well, as they get older, you want to put them in really good schools. You want to put them in good universities.
So in Indonesia, you don't have that, you mean?
Indonesia, you have amazing schools.
Asian
okay, Indonesia, Jakarta has amazing international schools,
yeah,
but definitely not universities. You cannot compare British and American universities to an Asian university. Singapore and Hong Kong, yes, for sure. But it's just the mindset. We're playing with the mindset of people here. Personally, for me, having an Indonesian base works for the opportunities available in the Indonesian and the Southeast Asian region. Soon I'll open the Singapore company and the Malaysian to globally expand the base.
Yeah.
For me, I have the UK company. I can incorporate any company in Europe because as being a European citizen anytime. So for me, the circumstances work in my favor at the moment. But for people, as you say, your country nationals, Uzbek people, they want to immigrate for those reasons. And I don't blame them, they should.
Yeah.
But once the kids are settled, once they have secured those green ticks, passport, better healthcare, better education, if you want to expand the business and really grow the business, Asia is the place to be. I've been following Indonesia since 2006 when I was 15 years old, 14 years old. I used to watch Bloomberg and Indonesia, they used to show Jakarta, the financial center of Jakarta. Indonesia was growing at 10%, double-digit growth back then, while the rest of the world was growing at 2, 3, 4%, especially after pandemic. Which major economy is growing at a double-digit growth? Tell me any economy. I don't see of any. UK, we're in 9.1% inflation. A client of mine last year made £250,000 revenue. Guess how much taxes he paid? 110,000 pounds.
Okay.
So not 50 exactly. We were able to optimize the taxes, but on an income of 250, paying 110 tax. Why? Of course, we should pay our taxes, fair share of taxes. Not saying avoid taxes. Sorry, avoid taxes. Don't evade taxes. Evasion is illegal. Avoidance is legal if you know the ways. But that doesn't mean that you're just going to all your hard-earned money just in taxes. It's, yes, of course, we should pay our taxes for the roads, for the healthcare that we use and everything.
Yeah.
But 110,000 pounds, people don't even earn that much money. That's like 2 average incomes.
Okay.
That's an average income for 2 people in the UK. And you're paying that much in taxes. So that's why he's now planning to settle in Dubai.
All right.
Oh, I've incorporated his Dubai company, done up his structure. And Dubai, guess what the tax is in Dubai?
Zero.
A big fat zero.
They introduced 9% tax, which will be in effect very soon. But
yes. But still, 40% versus 9%.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, Indonesia is great. And for a lot of digital nomads, when I say this, if you're in e-commerce, drop shipping, even blogging, a lot of bloggers, YouTubers are expanding and settling their bases here in Indonesia, generating their income, YouTube income through an Indonesian company, Indonesian structure, paying minuscule taxes versus the US, UK, and living the life here.
Can foreigners open, for example, bank accounts in Indonesia?
Yes, I have one.
Possible, right?
For sure. Of course, how else do you think they'll do their banking? For sure. And guess what? Unlike China, you get a Visa or a MasterCard.
Okay.
It's a globally accepted.
So there is no restriction on foreign currency. I mean, USD.
No. So the only restriction can be if you're transferring larger amounts per day in excess of 20,000. Then it might be red flagged. You'll have to present the supporting documentation. But that's a sizable restriction. You're not going to be transferring $20,000 every day unless you have a major business. And if you have that kind of a business, then the banks know you have a relationship with the bank.
Okay. All right. Would you also recommend Indonesia for people who want to relocate with their families?
Yes.
Is it secure enough?
Very much so. So in Indonesia, one thing, okay, you mentioned Europe versus Europe. Europe, you won't have a maid unless you're a multimillionaire. You won't have a driver until you're a multi-millionaire. And also Europe, you have to do a lot of stuff yourself, a lot of household chores yourself. Whereas in Indonesia, the first thing what I did when I relocated to Indonesia back in December 2020, I hired a maid. So I don't do the cooking and cleaning. I don't do my laundry. I don't do my ironing. And guess what? You can rent a driver on a daily basis. So if you buy a car here, pretty reasonable, you just hire a driver. You don't want to be stuck in traffic and just like, when I'm in Jakarta, I just go rent a car, or even just, rent a car and comes along with a driver. While I'm working in the back seat, the driver's bringing me to places. The traffic is notorious in Jakarta. I don't want to be driving, stuck in traffic. Whereas in Europe, if I'm in London, British people will be able to understand here. You don't want to be stuck on the M25. That's the world's largest car park. So Indonesia as a family, and Jakarta's got amazing international schools. French, German, British, American schools. It's got really good healthcare, private healthcare.
Okay.
As long as you're willing to pay for it, you have all the facilities that are possible. And like foot massages are what, $5 to $10?
All right.
$10 roughly. London, a foot massage is roughly about £50. So $10 versus £50. In America, I'm not exactly sure of the American rates, but probably won't be $10 for sure. So you have a good standard of living.
So you have like all the facilities available in Europe and developed countries at a lesser cost.
So like Jakarta, even in Surabaya, there are these certain malls, shopping centers, which are as good, if not better, than the British and the American malls, shopping centers. So in the UK, we have Trafford Centre in Manchester. We've got Lakeside in Grays near Lakeside Turek. And then there's Westfield in White City in London. Shanghai's got those malls, Shintendi, there's a big mall, and then I forgot the name of the mall in Jing'an area, the one, the Shaanxi Mall.
Shaanxi, yeah.
Yes, you have all those malls, but China is, again, from a living point of view, education is bloody expensive.
Yeah.
Unless you're making big money, it's very expensive to send 2 kids to school. On average, tuition fee is about 150,000 RMBs per child per year. So you've got 2 kids, that's 200,000 RMBs. That's 35,000 pounds for 2 kids, That's a lot of money. Whereas Jakarta is not that much. Europe is free, because as you become a PR, you got your PR, so it's free. And also, you get your malls, you have your high-end stores, you have your brands in Indonesia, and you've also got the lifestyle of Asians there, where it's like cheap labor, drivers. When we go to Jakarta and Surabaya, I would like to invite you, Alex, where Surabaya, you get a mansion for roughly $800,000 equivalent. And it's
foreigners can buy.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 10-bedroom, massive mansion with underground parking for 10 cars.
Okay.
With pillars that look like an Italian, basically, architect, like a Milan, the Duomo in Milan, for example, the cathedrals or whatever. It's brilliant. So the lifestyle that you can get here in Asia, in Indonesia, you won't be able to get that in Europe for that amount of money, for a fraction of the cost, basically.
All right. Okay, so I guess this is it. Thank you, Rishi.
No problem.
For giving this interview and answering all these questions. So okay guys, thanks for watching, and like I said in the beginning, please leave your questions in the description below, in the comment section below, and we're going to make a follow-up interview later on based on that. Thank you.